industry. Now, you'll remember that recreational cannabis use was legalized in Colorado this January, and it's already had a pretty big impact on the economy there. Colorado's state coffers have brought in more than $2 million in taxes from that budding trade just in the month of January alone. Now, job seekers are also trying to tap into that as well. Among the employers at Thursday's jobs fair was a tour company looking for guides to show the new industry to potential tourists. Firms were also looking for sales staff, growers even. And the only requirement for people attending this fair, potential employees had to be at least 21 years old to apply for these positions.
That's good to know. An interesting note to end on there, Kate. Thanks very much. All right, it's time to take a look at what's grabbing headlines around the world. Now, a lot of papers are focusing on the situation in Syria. Tomorrow marks the third anniversary of the beginning of Syria's civil war.
That's right. Let's start with Sharq al-Awsat. That's a pan-Arab paper based in London. Now, it says that as we go into that third anniversary, it's important to note one thing, and that's that the revolution is dead, with over 140,000 people who have been killed, a third of the population displaced. You can really no longer talk about a revolution. What this is a war, a crisis, but it's certainly no longer a revolution. Now, a lot of foreigners are participating in the war in Syria, and the Telegraph here focuses on al-Qaeda-linked groups. Now, a lot of people have said that they've really hijacked the spirit of the revolution, and it's often said that al-Qaeda-linked groups want to throw Syria back into the Dark Ages. But this article says that actually al-Qaeda-linked groups are very much anchored in the 21st century, and they're very savvy with modern technology. They're very active on Twitter and all sorts of other social media, so they're certainly not in the Dark Ages. And this is a cartoon in Al-Quds Al-Arabi, so another pan-Arab paper based in London, and it's a cartoon that's very critical of the international community. And you can see a crocodile there reading about the war in Syria and shedding crocodile tears.
Powerful stuff, Flo. Let's talk away from Syria. What about the Ukraine, where there's, with this upcoming referendum, a lot of papers are talking about Sunday's vote.
That's right. The Moscow Times, which is an independent paper that's in English, actually reports from Crimea. And it says that many residents there seem to have no illusion about the outcome of Sunday's vote. They believe it's clear that Crimea will become a part of Russia. But this article is very interesting because it says that residents are actually very divided. They can't agree on whether their daily lives will or will not be better under Russia. To quote one resident, many people are in favor of Russia, many are against it, but most don't even understand what's going on. Now, the Washington Post also has an interesting analysis piece, and it points out that what's happening in Crimea is actually in a way good for Ukraine because Putin's interference has actually strengthened Ukraine. It's advanced national unity among Ukrainian citizens, and it's led the country's new leaders to actually be quite moderate in their actions. And just to finish up on Ukraine, I pulled out a cartoon from China Daily that focuses on the diplomatic fallout of all this. And you can see the Ukrainian crisis there casting a scary specter of the Cold War. And I guess the outline of Ukraine does kind of look like a T-Rex.
Okay, moving on from that, Malaysia, this puzzling disappearance of a plane. What do we know?
Well, the Wall Street Journal focuses on new information that's come out, and that's that U.S. regulators, well, they suspect that the jet flew on for up to perhaps 4 hours after the contact was lost. So there's actually a map in the Wall Street Journal that points out that, well, the plane could have flown an additional 2,200 nautical miles in any direction. So you can see the circle there. It's a significant, bigger circle of the range the plane could have flown in. Now, the Huffington Post is focusing on what just happened to the plane, and it wonders, has a student actually solved the mystery? This is a young student named Andrew Aud. He's a computer science student at Stanford, and in a Tumblr post, he suggested that a slow decompression may have caused passengers and the pilots to suffocate without even knowing it. And his post has actually gathered a lot of attention, but there's still no clear answer. And so, as Slate points out today, there are a lot of conspiracy theories that are flying around, including this crazy one. Could the missing plane actually have been stolen? And Slate actually goes into more detail about just how to steal a plane.
Right, well, let's end with a cartoon that's making light of a fight between the Senate Intelligence Committee and the CIA over various accusations that have been flying about.
That's right. Now, those accusations are that the CIA has been spying, on the Congress. Now, leading those accusations is Senator Dianne Feinstein, the head of the Senate International Committee. And if we take a look at a cartoon in the International New York Times, you can see her there at a meeting, and she says, "Do you guys think the CIA is spying on us?" And I don't know if you can see there, but right in front there's a little drone that's serving coffee to those members. So perhaps, according to this cartoon, yes, the CIA is spying on them.
Okay, Florence, thanks very much for that update. Good to have you with us, as always. All right, coming up in focus, Denmark's Muslim and Jewish communities are alarmed at moves to curtail their religious practices. Do stay tuned.